Hello, Lindiwe Majele Sibanda. Thank you very much for joining us. You're from FANRPAN.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you tell me why you're here at the COP, first of all?
I'm here at COP16 because the organization I work with, the Food, Agriculture, Natural Resources and Policy Analysis Network, is an African organization that's working towards a food-secure Africa. And one thing we know for sure is that there is no food security without climate security. So we are here to make sure that any deal we get out of COP16 does recognize the triple benefits that we can accrue in any climate security policy framework.
How does this link into your Green Rainbow Revolution?
Oh, that's an exciting one. As you know, that Africa is currently pursuing what we call the Green Revolution, a uniquely African Green Revolution, where we are facing the challenge where we have to at least double productivity so as to meet the demands. By 2050, we have to feed 9 billion people worldwide, and Africa already has 1 billion people. Now, we are not food secure, and one thing we know is we've got the potential. But when we're talking food, you're not just talking the green. So unlike the Asian Green Revolution, where the focus was on wheat and rice, the African Rainbow Revolution is got to focus on the cereals, it has got to focus on the livestock, and the livestock are the cattle, the camels, the goats, the sheep, the chickens for the women, because it's all about livelihoods, nutrition security, and food security. So if a farmer can keep their few chickens and sell them, they'll be able to generate an income to feed themselves. So we cannot afford to focus on just a green revolution. We need a rainbow revolution that will also make sure that we safeguard our natural resources.
So how are you, I get the rhetoric, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
How are you going to incite this revolution then?
I don't think we have to do much, because I think the problem is always the academics. At a farm level, the farmer is in charge of the ecosystem. They look at their natural resource space as a source of life. They look at the human capital. They look at their social networks, the physical and financial. But it's just the discipline, the training that we have that has made us say, I'm a water specialist, so when I go into the farm, I want to make sure that I will address the water issues. So what we now need is to make sure we package our research outputs such that they can complement the knowledge gaps within the traditional system.
Have you got any examples of how you've done this already?
Yes, within our network, what we have done is to create dialogue platforms. At the local level, we realize that in most cases, women cannot participate freely in the interaction between the scientists, the local leadership, and the farming community. So what we have created is theater for policy advocacy, where we bring in the evidence, we equip the women, and they do their own songs and dance in order to pass the messages of where there are gaps in knowledge or what they've been able to achieve. At the national level, we've established what we call the multi-stakeholder policy dialogues, where we encourage civil society and government to interface. Because as you know, government is the architect of policies, but we know that they cannot do it without the input from the scientific community, the farmers, and the private sector. But we do not have space for engagement. So unless you formalize a platform where every month you get the community, the multi-stakeholder groups to come and discuss a burning issue, you document the advice that is generated, but the key thing is that it's got to be evidence-based. Then you follow through with government to make sure that the policies are redressed or addressed to bring in the knowledge that is missing, and to also develop programs that will address the needs of the communities. And really the common vision is, how do you improve productivity of the smallholder farmer?
Are there any countries in particular you can point to where this is happening quite well at the moment?
Yeah. If you look at what Africa has now, we have what we call the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program, CAADP. This is an African-owned, African-driven program, which was endorsed by our heads of states in 2003. And what we know now is that we have at least 10 African countries that have achieved the target, which was set, of 10% of their national budgets contributing to agriculture. The other target that was set under CADEP was to ensure at least a 6% per annum growth in the agricultural sector. And we are happy to celebrate that Malawi is growing at over 12% per annum in the agricultural sector. And that has been because there is bold leadership, there is policies that make sure that the smallholder farmer has access to seed and fertilizer so they can improve their productivity. So really what is happening is we need a conducive policy environment, but that environment can only be guaranteed if we have the research that feeds into the needs, the knowledge gaps that we have identified.
Where are you going to get this research from?
Now, the challenge we've always faced is that in the last 30 years, there has been very little investment in the agricultural sector. We are aware that the contribution ODA globally went down from 17 to 3%. But the exciting thing is that the food crisis was a blessing in disguise, in that the whole world woke up to say agriculture is key, and unless we can generate enough food to feed the world, we are going to be in trouble. There will be no global security. So we are seeing increased investments right from the G8, the commitments, the G20 into agriculture. But what's more exciting is the reorganization of the CGIAR, the Consultative Group for International Agricultural Research. The 15 centers are being reorganized and they now all have to feed towards poverty reduction. It means they will have to create more partnerships. They will have to work closer amongst themselves. They shouldn't compete. They will have to complement each other. And 7 mega programs have been designed to make sure that amongst the centers, they can work in a parallel fashion but feeding within a common goal. So it's exciting times. The other thing that is exciting in the reform of the CG system is that there's more emphasis on partnerships. Partnerships at regional level and partnerships at national level. What that means is that you cannot have a CG system that's undertaking research that is parallel to the national system. They will have to complement. And the challenge now is resources for the national centers, and that is where CADEP comes in. Because under CADEP, the African program, Pillar 4, talks about improved research and technology adoption. If you're going to carry out research at global level, you've got to have an interface at local level that's going to translate that global research into local needs. And this is where investments in CADEP should be intensified through FARA, the Forum for African Agricultural Research in Africa.
It sounds very interesting what you're doing, and I think this research is almost like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you very
for your
much.
time.
Thank you.